Hello everyone, this is Ankit Jain. I welcome you to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. In today's quick tech session, we will explore how we can create a multi-select custom lookup. We will create one generic component in today's quick tech session with the help of which you can perform the lookup operation on any object. And the component that we will be creating is a generic component so that you can use the same component in your different projects as well. So here in this component, the label will be generic, the placeholder will be generic, the icons that you will see that will also be generic. Moreover, the records that we are getting after using that lookup that will also be generic. So based on the certain inputs, the component will be created. So here the user can go and type the component for which user wants to perform the search operation. So here you can see the list of options are coming up based on the entered input. So user can go and select the input here, and as soon as the input is selected, it will add as a pill container here, right? In case user will go and select the same input multiple times, then we are also restricting the user here, and we are also showing the error message. So for example here, if I go and select the test account one multiple time, here you can see I am throwing an error message, the pill is already selected. To get started, let's go and create the custom controller. So I am taking the Control Shift P and selecting the option here called create Apex class. I am naming the Apex class here as the custom lookup controller. In this Apex class, I am declaring one method with the aura enabled annotation, as I have to invoke this Apex class from the Lightning Web component. Also, I am putting here one more property, that is cacheable equal to true. The reason being I want to invoke this from the wire decorator. So I'm making this one as cacheable equal to true. Now this method I'm naming this as the fetch lookup data, and this method will accept the two parameter. First one is the search key, whatever the value that user have entered, that will come in the search key, and another one is the object API name, whatever the object that from which user wants to fetch the data, that will be under the object API name. Now here I want to check whether the user have entered any value in the search key or not. In case not, then we will go and return the empty list. And in case user have entered the value, then we will go and fetch the records from the object API name. So here I am declaring one generic list, naming that as an S object, naming the list name as object list is equal to new list of S object here. Okay, now here first I am checking whether the search key have something or not. So here I am using if string dot is blank of search key. In case my search string is blank, then I will go and perform the return with the blank list, that is the S object list. As I am returning the list here, I am also changing the data type as the return type as the list of S object. Okay, in case my search string is not blank, I will convert that string into the wildcard. So for that I am using string key is equal to percent plus whatever the value that user have entered plus followed by the percent symbol. Now we do have the wildcard and we do have the object name. So let's go and write down the query for that. So I am putting here the query is equal to, so here I am putting select ID that I want to fetch, comma name from. I want to get the data from this object API name that I am getting as an input parameter, and the condition that I am writing here is where name like. So here also we have to put the append character, and here I want to search based on the key that we have prepared with the help of wildcards, and I want to order the output based on the name. So here I am putting order by name, and I want to limit my output till 5 records. So I am putting here limit of 5. Right, my query is ready where I am getting the ID and the name from the S object name, right, that we are getting. After that I am putting here the condition where I want to filter down the records based on the entered key, and I want to limit the records till 5. Now let's go and execute this query, and I'm storing the output again in this S object list. So here I go and put the database dot query, and the first parameter that I am passing here is the query. I also want to return only those records for which user do have the access. So I am using here the access level dot user mode, right? So it will return only those records for which user to have the access. Now let's go and return this list as well. So I'm putting the return as object list, right? I believe our Apex class is ready. Let's go and deploy the Apex class now. So I'm taking the right click and performing the deploy operation. So our Apex class is deployed here successfully. Now we will go and create the Lightning Web component from where we will go and invoke this Apex class. So I'm taking the option of Control Shift P and creating the Lightning Web component. Let me give the name of the Lightning Web component as the custom lookup, and I'm giving this name as a multi custom lookup. Okay, because we are allowing this lookup to go and select the multiple records. So I'm naming this component as the multi lookup, selecting enter and creating my lightning web component. As I have to invoke this method from the lightning web component, let me go and import this method from the custom lookup controller. So I'm putting here import. The method that I have to invoke here is the fetch lookup data. So I am putting the same name here. Again, you can put the different name, it's completely up to you, right? And I want to get that method from the custom lookup controller. So that is my method, and let me check this method name as well. So this is the fetch lookup data. So we have imported this method. As I have to invoke this method with the help of wire decorator, I am also importing here the wire decorator as well. Now let's go and make a call to this method, and with the help of search key we have to make this call. So I am defining here one search key, and also I am putting here the S object API name that we have to pass. But again, as we are creating a generic component, I want this S object API name to be set by the parent component or from the app builder. So I am decorating this with the @API decorator. As I am using @API decorator here, make sure here you are also importing the @API decorator, and I am putting here the object API name is equal to, for the time being I am hard coding the value to account. Okay, so these are the two parameters that we have to pass. So here let's go and invoke this method with the help of wire decorator. So I am putting here the @wire, putting the method name that we have imported and the parameters that we have to pass. I am passing here the dynamic parameter or the more reactive parameters. So the parameters that my method is accepting, the first parameter is the search key. So here I go and put the search key, and the value that I have to pass is the search key. As I said, I am passing here the reactive parameter. So I am putting here the parameters in the reactive form. Another parameter that my Apex method is accepting is the object API name. So here I am putting the object API name, and the parameter that I am passing here, again the reactive parameter that we have declared, that is the object API name, right? And we are handling the response with the help of wire decorator here in the form of function. So let me put here the function name as search result. Again, there will be one object that will receive. We are destructuring the object here, and here I am putting the data slash data comma error, and here I am checking in case we are getting the data, I will log the data. So here I am putting if I am getting the data, then we will go and log this data here. We'll go and validate whether we are getting this data correctly or not. So I am putting here the console.log data, and here I am putting the else. If we are getting an error, then I will go and log the error. So I am putting here console.log error. Okay, very simple. We are making one call, right? We are passing the input parameter, and here whatever the data that we are getting, I am printing that data. After I receive the data, I want to check whether I am getting more, I am getting at least one record or more than one records or not. For that, I am checking the length of the data. So here I am putting the data dot length is greater than 0. If the data dot length is greater than 0, then I am putting the value as true. Otherwise, I am putting the value here as false. And I want to store this into one of the variable. So let me put the ternary operator here. And I want to put this output into one of the variable. Let's say this dot has records. And I am declaring that variable here. And I'm initializing this variable with the value as false. Initially, we are saying that there are no records, right? As soon as we are getting any record, right, we are setting the value as true. In case we are not getting any record, we will go and set the value as false, right? We will also store the output into one of the variable. So here I go and declare another variable, that is the search output. Okay, and as this is an array, I'm initializing this with the array, and here I go and store that output into the array. So here I go and put this dot search output is equal to whatever the data that we are getting. As we have to iterate this output on the HTML file, that's why I'm storing it in the class member variable, right? So again, a quick revision: what we have done, we have imported the wire decorator method that we have created in the apex class. After that, we are making a call to the apex method. Whatever the data that we are getting, we are checking the length of that data. In case the length is greater than 0, we are storing it into the one variable, and also here we are storing the output into one of the class member variable. Now we go and design the custom lookup here, in which we go and show this data that we are getting as an option, and also we are allowing the user to select that record. To do that, we will take the help of the SLDS classes. So I'm navigating to the SLDS classes. So here first I will go and design the background for me. For this I am taking the themes from the SLDS classes. You can also go to the SLDS site and search here for the themes. You will be landed up on the same page. I want to have this kind of a theme. So I am copying that theme from here and navigating back to my HTML file. And here I will be on my HTML file and pasting the theme. Again, I don't want any content inside from this. I'm only looking for the SLDS box and the SLDS theme class here. So my background is ready, right? You can also go for the lightning card if you want here. Okay, now let's go and get the custom lookup from the SLDS classes. So here we do, if you again go to the SLDS classes and search here for the lookups, you will be landed up on this lookups page. Here I am taking the lookup which is coming as the focused, because I want to show these options here along with the icons. So I am copying this option from here. I'm copying the complete code, and we will paste this code in the HTML file. Later we will see how we can improvise this code for to show the actual data. Okay, so let's go and try to understand what all things we do have in this HTML file. So here we do have one section for the label. Here we do have the one section for the input, from in which user will go and enter the value. Right here we do have another section to show the options. Right, very simple HTML file. Now we have to go and modify this HTML file according to our requirement. So rather than I go and show the label here, what I will do here is I will directly use the lightning input component, so that we don't need this input HTML tag, and also we don't have to show this label separately. So I am taking out this label from here completely, because I will show my own label here. So I am taking this out completely. Okay, another thing is, again, I don't want to use this input box. I want to use my own lightning input. So I am also taking this out as well, and we will go and design our own lightning input here. So here I go and put my own lightning input. So here I putting lightning input. I am putting here the type as search, which will give me the search icon. That is the only benefit with the search type, that it will give you the search icon. You don't have to go and separately use it. I want to use the label. Again, as I'm creating the generic component, I'm allowing the user to enter the label or select the label. So I am putting here the label as the generic. Again, I'm also putting the placeholder option here, that in which user can go and enter the value for the placeholder as well. So here I'm putting the placeholder. Another thing is, as soon as user go and change the input, we have to invoke the JavaScript method. So I am defining here the change handler as well, and let me name this as the change handler. And also I want to add some SLDS classes to have the padding from the left and right. So I am putting here SLDS where p left small, and similarly here I am putting the SLDS where p right small. So I have added the padding from both the left and the right. So we have used two different properties here. One is the label, and second is the placeholder. Let's go and define these properties again in our JavaScript file. So here I am putting the label, and again, as I said, we want to make it generic, so I am defining it with the API decorator. Again, I am initializing this value with the account, and another one I am putting here is the again with the @API decorator, and I am putting here as a placeholder, and I am naming that placeholder as the search count. Okay, so any component which is using this multi-custom lookup, they can pass their own label and the own placeholder here. Again, placeholder, it should be in the same case, so make sure that you are putting the same case here, right? So we have created this properties here. Now here we also have created one handler, so let's go and define this handler as well. So let me scroll, minimize this, and here I am creating my own handler, right? So let's go and get that value from the handler. So whatever the value that user have entered, I am getting that value. Let name is equal to, sorry, let value is equal to event dot target dot value. Now we have to go and set this value into the search key, because here we have created the wire decorator as with a reactive parameter. So as soon as we go and set this search key, my wire decorator will execute and it will get the records for me. But again, here I don't want my wire decorator to be executed very frequently as soon as user go and change something. To as a part of best practice, what I am doing here is I am adding some delay for my server call, and for that I am introducing one variable here, and I am naming that variable as the delay variable. Here I am putting the delay of 300 milliseconds. Make a note, this is in milliseconds, right? So I am putting here the delay of 300 milliseconds here. Now here what we will do, as soon as user will go and enter some value, rather than we go and call that value immediately, we will hold for the delay, and as soon as the delay has been done, then and then only we will make that call. So for that, what I am doing here is I am using the set timeout method. So here I am putting the set timeout. This method, it will take two things. First thing as the callback function, and second thing as the delay, how much delay you want to put to execute this callback function. So delay we have already defined here. So I am passing that delay of 300 milliseconds here. As soon as the delay has been executed, what we want here is whatever the value that is available here, we want to pass that value. So what we will do here is we will go and put here this dot search key, because otherwise here we have to pass the search key, and whatever the value that user have entered, we have to pass that value, right? Let's go and store this timeout again into one of the variable. So I am creating here another variable, and I am naming that variable here as the delay timeout, because after every key we have to also go and clear this timeout. That is the reason I am storing the current timeout here. So as soon as user have typed something new, what we will do here is we will immediately go and clear the timeout, and to clear the timeout we do have another method, that is the clear timeout, and in this method we have to specify which timeout we want to clear. So here I am passing this timeout here. This section we are doing just to improvise that on every change we don't want to have the server call, and for that reason we are adding that delay. In case your business does not want to have a delay, for every change they want the immediate response, you can definitely skip that option and get the immediate value here, right? Now the way it will work is as soon as user will go type something, it will have some delay, and after the delay has been done, the search key value will be changed, and as soon as the search key is changed, my wire decorator will execute and it will fetch you the updated records, right? Now we got the updated records, and after hitting the updated records, now we are getting this data here, right? Now let's go and check whether we are getting any records or not. So let's navigate to the HTML file. In the HTML file, now here we don't need this search icon, so we can take out this complete span from here. So I'm removing this span, because as we are using the type is equal to search, we automatically get that search icon there. So I'm taking out that span here. And now the next section we do have to show the options, and we have to show these options only if we are getting any records after making the server call. So I am putting here the template LWC if I'm checking whether we do are getting any records after making the server call. So we have already declared one property there with the name of has records. So here I am using that property, and I am putting here the slash template. So unless and until we don't have any records, we will not go and display the output here. Now here what we do have this div tag. Under this we do have this uh, unordered list tag, and here we do have the different options. So you can see this is the first option, this is the second option, and this is the third option. For the demo purpose, let me go and remove this two options for now, because we have to populate these options dynamically. So I am removing these two options from here, and I'm only keeping the one option for now. Now here what we have to do here is, whatever the data that we got from the HTML call, we have to iterate over that data. So to perform that iteration, here I am using the template for each. So we have declared the property here. Let me go and get that property name from the JavaScript file where we have stored the output, and that is nothing but the search output. So here I am populating the, here I am iterating over this search output, and to get the first iteration at a time, I am using the for item, and I am naming that as a output. Right now what we have to do in this iteration, we have to go and iterate over the different records. So let me go and close this here. Right, whatever the iteration that we are doing, we have to iterate over the each iteration, and we have to get that record. Right, and also as soon as user go and select that iteration, then we have to go and select that record as well. So to perform that selection, I am defining here the on click handler, and I am naming that on click handler here as the click handler. Right, so as soon as user go and select that record will be selected with this click handler here. Now here let's go and try to deep dive what all different things we do have under this list. So first thing that we do have here is the icon, and after that we are showing the actual data here. So to display that icon, we do have this span. But again, here I don't want to use the SVG to display that icon. So again, I am using out of the box component here. That is the lightning icon component to display that icon. So here I am putting the lightning icon name. Again, we want this icon name to be more generic. Whatever the icon name that user will pass, we will show the same icon name here. So I am putting here the icon name. We will go and define that again as a public property. I want the size of an icon to be small, so I am putting here the size as a small. Another property that we do have for the icon to show the alternative text, and here I am showing the alternative text for the icon as the uh, let's say record name, or you can also put the icon for now or the record name. It's completely up to you what you want to put. So here let's say I want to put this icon name as the component name. So here I am putting the text as output dot name. Okay, so we have declared this icon. Now we don't need this SVG, so we can easily go and remove this SVG from here, because we have replaced that SVG with the lightning icon. Now here, rather than we should go and have that static text, what we can do here is we can dynamically populate the output name here as well. So here I am populating this output name. Whatever the output name that we have given, I am populating that output name here. So let me take this span out as well, because we don't need this span. We only want to show the output name. Also, I want to store the record ID as well, and for that I am using the data attribute here. I am putting here the data hyphen rec id is equal to whatever the id of the account. I am also storing that id, because we have to make sure that we are all at the back end, we are also having the selected id as well. So here I am putting the output dot id. Right, this is how we can go and design our HTML file with the help of the SLDS classes. Here we have make sure that whatever the data that we have to populate dynamically, we are populating here with the help of data attribute and with the help of class member variables. Right, so as soon as user click on this click handler, now the next thing that we have to perform here is we have to make that selection, we have to read that id, and we have to display that data. So again, go back to our JavaScript file here, and we will go and define this method as a click handler, and I'm putting here as an event. Okay, so as soon as user clicked on that button, we are getting that id here. Now let's go and add that id here. So here I am adding that id. So let me go and put here console dot sorry, let me go and read the data from the event first, because we are already putting the id there. So here I am putting the id is equal to read that data from the data attribute. I am using here event dot target dot get attribute, and from which attribute we have to read the data, from the data hyphen rec id. This is the attribute that we have defined, uh, this one, right? So this is the attribute that we have defined. So I am getting that data from that same attribute here, right? Let's go and log this thing, and we will check whether at least after the selection we are getting the correct record id or not. Okay, so let's go and log this console.log, and here I go and print the record id of my selection. Okay, so we'll go and validate till here whether we are getting the successful response after making the apex call, and how the ui is coming up. After that we will go and write down the further logic here. So let's go and expose this component. So here I am putting is expose is equal to true, and defining the target here as the app page. Let me go and deploy this component. So here deployment is failing because of this area label placeholder for drop down item. Let's go and navigate to the HTML file and check what is this thing. Okay, here it is failing because of this label. We don't need that, so we can easily take this out. Okay, the another error that we are getting here is, as we are using the for each loop, it is mandatory to go and define the key. So here I go and put the key is equal to, and here I am passing the value as output dot id, right? That was the another reason for the error. So let me go and deploy this now. So my component is deployed here successfully. Let's go and add this component on the app page now. So I'm navigating to the app page. I can see that my component is available here, multi custom lookup. I'm just dragging and dropping the component here, clicking on save, and let's go back. Right, now let's go and validate whether we are getting the expected output from the component or not. For that I am opening the console window here. So let me open this console window here. I am on the console. Let me clear this out. We go and start typing the value. Let's say I'm putting here the test account. Okay, one issue that I can observe here is icon names are not coming up correctly because we have not defined this icon class member variable that we will do. So here if I go and select this value, let's go and check whether we are getting the record ID or not. You can see we are getting the correct record ID here, right? As soon as we go and select some value, we are getting the correct record id here. You can see here. So our selection is working as expected, and our event is returning us the correct id. So let's go and do the first change to get the correct icon name. So again I'm navigating back to my html file, getting that icon name parameter that I have defined, and here I go to my javascript and define that icon name here. So again I want this icon name to be defined by the end user. So here I'm making this property as the public property, and for the time being I am using here the standard account icon. I am using here the standard account icon. Now I believe it looks good to me. Now the next thing that we have to do here is we have to show the result in the form of pill container, right? As soon as user have make the selection, we have to display the result in the form of pills container. So for that again we will go and use the out of the box component that Salesforce do offer, that is the lightning pill container. So I am opening the documentation here for the lightning pill container here. This is again OOTB out of the box component that Salesforce do offer, which will help us to display the data in the form of pills. So if I go and run a demo for this, you will see that whatever the items that we are selecting here, we will get the output in the form of pill. And this is what also we are looking for. We also want to show that output in the form of pill. So here I'll be using the lightning pill container. Now my lightning pill container, it does accept the items as the one attribute, and here we have to pass the items. Let's go and try to understand the format of items this component will accept. So here we have to specify the type, href, label, source, fall background, variant, and the link. You can see these are the different inputs. This is how basically we have to create one pill. We can also go to the documentation and look for the example for the specific icon here, because we have to display the data not in the form of avatar but in the form of icon. So here if I scroll down and look for the option to display the data in the form of icon. So let me check if we do have here. Right. So this is the kind of a pill that we have to also prepare, where we can store the data in the form of icon. So based on our selection, let's go and create that pill here. So here I am creating the pill. Let pill is equal to, and this is the form of data that we have to prepare. We need the type as an icon because we have to show the icon. Label, again label, I want to populate the selected record name. We do have all the selections available in this search output. So from here, the first thing that we will do is we will get the complete record. So here I am getting that complete record here. For that, uh, I am using the find method. So here I go and put this dot selected output dot find, and what we have to find based on the current item, we have to go and check if the current item dot id is same as the record id that user have selected. So we are looking for that record here, and let me put here the value as selected record, and here I am storing again this into one of the variable, that is the selected record variable. Now from the selected record we have to go and get the name. So here I am putting the selected record dot name as a label. Now as a part of name I want to store the id, whatever the id that we have received. So I am storing that id in the name here. Icon, again we want to dynamically populate the icon here. So here I go and put the this dot icon name, the property that we have defined. Alternative text, again we can show the alternative text as the account name only. So I am putting the alternative text as an account name. So we have created this pill. Now the next thing that we have to do here is we have to go and add this pill in the array, and because we have to pass that array to our pill container. So what I am doing here is I am creating another array here, and I am naming that array as the selected records. This is my array here. Now in this array, let's go and pass that value. So here I am putting this dot selected records is equal to whatever the pill that we have created. We'll go and append that pill. For that I am using the spread operator. If you are not familiar with the spread operator, make sure that you are checking the LWC bootcamp. There we have explained the different scenarios and the different use cases for the spread operator. So here I am adding the spread operator with the pill that I have created. Right, again it looks good to me. So what we have done here is we have created one pill and we are adding that pill. Now we'll go and display that pill in the HTML file. So to display that pill on the HTML file, again we will go here to our HTML file and define the pill container here. So I want to show this pill container immediately next to my input. Again here, to I want to display that pill container only and only when I am getting any selected records. So for that, what I am doing here is, again I am putting the template LWC if, and here I will go and create one getter method which will check whether I do have any records in the pill container or not. So here I am creating one getter method. So let me put here the getter method name as show pill container, and in case the pill container returns to true, then we go and use the lightning pill container here. So here I am putting the lightning pill container, and in the lightning pill container I want to show the pills. So here I am passing the items because that is what my property does expect, and here I am passing the selected records. Right, here I am passing those selected records here. So here let's go and define this getter method as well in our JavaScript file. So I am creating another method here and putting this method as the getter method. So what this method will do, this method will check if the length of this is greater than 0 or not. So here that's what I am checking, dot length. If it is greater than 0, then we will go and return true. Otherwise we will go and return the false. So here it should be a question mark as we are using the ternary operator here. Right, it looks good to me. that we have added the pill container and we are showing the pill container based on the selection. Now the next thing that we have to take care is we have to go and also give the option to the user to remove the entry from the pill container. For that, again, we will go to the documentation. In the documentation, we do have the option to remove the pill container as well. So let me go and expand this section here, and we will see where we do have the option for the removal. You can see here what we do have the option to remove the pill container as well. For that, what we have to do, we have to use the event here called on item remove, and as soon as the event has been removed, what we have to do here is we have to execute the handler. So I'm again applying the similar analogy here as well. So here I am putting the on remove handler. So as soon as user clicked on the removal button, this method will execute. I will again navigate to the JavaScript file and declare this method. Let me go and put this method here, and here I do have the event. Again, go back to the documentation and try to understand how they are doing it. So here they are, what they are doing here, to remove the pill, they are getting the index from the event, and after that they are using the splice method to remove that entry from the array. So again, I am copying the same logic and putting it here. I also want to get the index, and from the index I want to remove the record from my array. So this is my array, and from here I am removing the record. So we have also taken care of removing the entry from the pill container as well. Now the last part that is left here is, what if the user is selecting the same option multiple times, right? We have to also go and perform some validation here, so that user should go and select the one entry at a time, and in case user is selecting the same entry again and again, then we have to show the error message to the end user. So to do that, we will go and write down one method here which will validate the duplicate record. So here this method is accepting the selected record, and in what this method will do, this method will check whatever the record that user have selected, if that record is already available in the selected record array. So here again I am applying the same logic that we have applied previously using the find method. So here I am checking that this dot selected records dot find, and here I am putting the current item, and on the current item I am checking the value here, current item. We are storing the id in the current item in the name, right? So I am looking here for the name is equal to whatever the value that user have selected, right? So this is where we are populating this value, and let me store this output again into one of the variable. So let me declare this variable as is record already selected, right? So now we will go and validate whether we are getting something here. In case we are getting some value here, then we will show the error message. So here I am checking that if is record already selected, if we are getting some value here, then we have to show the error message. Also, to track the error message, I am declaring one local variable here that we will return to the parent method, and I am initializing this to the true first. As soon as we are getting some error, what we will do here is we will make this as the false, and also, as I said, we will show the error message to the user that they are selecting the duplicate record. For that I am using the toast here. So LWC, let me go and put the LWC toast error, and here I am showing the toast message to the user as, let me put here error, and here I am putting the error message as pill is already selected, right? And I'm keeping here the variant as error. In case there is no error message, then what we will do, we will set this value to back to the true here. So here I go to the else section and setting here is valid is equal to true, right? Again, this step is not required because we are already initializing with the true, but for the better code readability, I am keeping this here as the true. And after my check has been done, here I am returning that value. So let me go and perform the return operation here. And here I am returning the is valid. Now let's go and call this method as soon as user have make the selection. So here, as soon as user have make the selection, first I am calling this method here, that is the validate duplicate method, right? And I am passing here the record ID as well. So whatever the record that user have selected, we will pass that record ID here. In case we are getting the valid value as true, then and then only we will allow the user to add the record, otherwise we will throw the error message, right? One thing I left here, that is to import the toast event. So let's go and import the show toast event as well. So here I'll go to the up and import the show toast event. So here I am putting the import show toast event from lightning slash platform show toast event. Okay, so let me go and check if we do have any spell errors here. It looks good to me. Let's go and deploy this and we will check the output. So my component is deployed here successfully. Let's go to the org and validate the output. So here I am inside my org. I am refreshing my page here and we will quickly validate the output whether it is working as expected or not. So here I'll be searching for the account. Let me put here the test account. So you can see here I'm making the selection. So as soon as I make the selection, the record is added. The multiple records are getting added after I make the selection here. If I go and try to add the same record twice, you can see we are getting the error message that the field is already selected. You can also customize this message the way you want. Okay, you can see as soon as I go and make the selection, which is already duplicate, we are getting the error message, and here I can go and add the multiple pills here. So this is how the component is working with the help of multiple selections from the lookup. This is all I do have, folks, for this quick take. For such interesting quick takes, make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Thank you. Have a good day.